94.3 Radio 1, India's only music station. My name is MJ Rakesh and I welcome you to One Bengaluru, One Music. One place where we bring you artists, singers, musicians and bands from across the city who jam up live and unplug for you in our studios. Every single Sunday between 9 and 10 p.m. But right now with me, a band that composes music classified as an approximate blend of alternative and progressive rock, finding its ground in the year 2005 when they came out with their first offering in the form of a 9-song album titled Chaos Sessions. That's the band Dark Project for you. Welcome to Radio 1, Dark Project. Hi! Alrighty. Okay, being a worshipper of rock, explain your genre to begin with. What are the sub-genres that you all sport? What style of rock?
Well, we play alternative rock and then we add a touch of progressive elements to it. So it's kind of like, a mix of both. Primarily, we could classify our music as alternative rock, but then somebody from RSJ termed us progressive as well for the kind of music we created. So we still tag that with our music.
Okay, what about the genre appeals to you guys?
I think it's like the perfect amalgamation of all our different influences. We have influences going all the way from metal to hard rock. We see that when we jam, we play like all kinds of crazy stuff.
So you guys have varied influences, but when you play together as Dark Project, when you play alternative and progressive, you find traces of your influences in this genre. That's
Absolutely.
why you like it. That's why you like alternative progressive.
Right.
Fantastic. So you find your identity with this music.
That's right.
Superb. All right. Now the name of the band isn't as noble as your thoughts or your music. Now tell me what's with Dark Project. What's with the name Dark Project?
Well, so basically, if I go back to the history of how it was formed, and back in the year 2002 when we were in school, and then we thought of like, okay, let's write music, and then we thought of, it was like me and Shavik in the band who were planning to have that idea, and then we sort of moved into engineering colleges, and then we thought, okay, let's do a project where we form this band, right? So we came up with this word called.
You gave it the name Project so that your parents take you seriously.
it was like another project that we are doing anyway.
I don't think parents would argue.
You would have just tried to convince your lecturers, your teachers, your principal and your parents that, you know what, we are doing a project. It's called the Dark Project.
Yeah, well, it was kind of like, still
a little
making a point.
sophisticated, a little
Still
more
making
schooly
a point.
types.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
you are doing one more project. Yeah, and then you had to come up with the word, so you were like pretty randomized with it, and then we kind of thought, what you should combine with it, and just as random as that is, then we thought of this word called dark, which went along pretty well with it, because
You guys were playing Dark Room when you decided
not
this?
really. we were playing Dark Project the game.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, so this band started from school.
Well, not the band started from school, but the idea of the band started like writing music. That started from school, and eventually it formulated into a band when we moved into our colleges.
So all of you moved to college together?
Not really, no. So we moved to different colleges, and it was tough from day one, because it was like both of us, Shavik and me, studying in the same school, and then we moved into different colleges, and then it was like a challenge to make sure that we're still talking about that idea about music, and then it was like getting people whosoever we know from friends of friends, and then getting them together and making sure that we sync up with wavelengths, and making sure that we brought
tuning is
one
done.
intellectual thought behind what we want to do. And even though it was like span across colleges, but we sort of thought that it's worth the pain, and it paid off. Now we're Bangalore, right? So it's like all in the same place now, so it's kind of like paid off.
So from the very beginning you guys chose your sound to be alternative progressive, or the
not
sound is
really.
progressed too?
Sound has progressed too. I think we started off more with alternative to begin with, but eventually as we moved on, we sort of went into the progressive element, because I mean, let's face it, I mean, when we started off, we were probably not as proficient as musicians, and eventually when the years went by, we sort of developed influences, we sort of learned more sides of music, and we studied music a lot, and then we brought in this influences into our music slowly, and we just deviated a little from alternative, tried a little experimentation with this time signatures and stuff like that, and went on to call ourselves this alternative progressive, because we still didn't want to deviate from what we had thought of to begin with. At the same time, we wanted to still move, and we didn't want to make it like dull and boring for people over the years listening to us. So we sort of went along, brought in as much new elements as we could, but we stuck to that whole idea of making sure that the music what we play now, just the way we incepted it.
Alrighty, fantastic. To begin with, Dark Project, tell me which is the first track you want to play on the show?
Cover up.
So from the album Chaos
What are
Session,
you trying to cover up?
if you could allow me to speak about the track, it's just about one of the aspects of our music that when we write songs about themes. We don't really write songs about what we feel today, and we just woke up and then we saw something and then we start writing about it. That's not how we write our music.
It's a continuous process.
It's more like a thought-based, driven, lyrically driven, and we take our lyrics very seriously. So Cover Up, coming back to the song, is about this face actors who actually go on stage. They put on this paint over their face and then they hide every emotion of their, that they don't want the audience to know what they feel inside. And this Cover Up is a song about covering up that face with covering up all his emotions and putting up a show every single day out there, and still hiding that emotion. So it tries to tell that story of a man who would just go up and do his job.
So painted up emotions
and not really let out the real truth to the world. So that's what Cover Up is about.
Alrighty. Looks like quite dark to me for a start. Let's bring it on then. This is the band Dark Project right here in the studios of 94.3 Radio 1. That's Yugel Lama, Korak Sarkar, Anand Saxena, Shovik Biswas, Sudipto Biswas right here in the studios of 94.3 Radio 1. Going live with me, MJ Rakesh, on One Bengaluru, One Music.
One Bengaluru, One Music.
One Music. 94.3. 94.3. A band that was struggling with geographical boundaries as they got split between Kolkata and Bangalore, yet happened to be the highest played Indian band on CBS's Last.fm in the year 2007 and 8, and later cutting out their second full-length album Liberty and Entropy in the year 2009. That's the band Dark Project right here in the studios of 94.3 Radio 1, going live with me, MJ Rakesh, on One Bengaluru, One Music. Well guys, highest played Indian band on CBS's Last.fm in the year 2007-2008. Now tell me, how did this happen?
Well,
No idea. Look at your faces. There's so much of glee. So much of glee on your faces. Tell me, how did this work?
well, we put out our music we put our music out on the internet, and then it sort of promoted over on social networks, and eventually people liked it. We also promoted in our colleges, and then the surprising part of that whole thing about highest played Indian band is the music got played not just in India. And in Last.fm we got this cool feature about you could figure out where your music got played, and we saw like people listening from all over the world. And we couldn't have gone beyond a certain point to spread our music even on the internet, right? So it's sort of, we could say that the music spread by itself in a way.
But how did the CBS's Last.fm get their hands onto your song?
So how it works, basically how it worked or is basically that you had to create a profile of your band there, upload your music, and then just like the way Reverb Nation works in today's date, it was like Last.fm back then. And what they do is like whosoever, if you have like a player on your system and you have a plugin of Last.fm and you would play any of the musics which are tagged properly, like the MP3 tags or whatever, it would just upload your music directly from your music player itself, and it would increment a count for the band for which you've listened to the music. So all the music artists all around the world have their pages, and there's a count which is monitored for even if you play it casually on your music player, you don't play it on the internet, but still it would get a count, and you would get an increment of one or something.
Fantastic. That must have been a real big thing for the band.
Well, yeah, true. We suffered a lot, and we made the much we could out of it.
Alrighty. Now coming to the compositions of your tracks. Now tell me, how does it work? What's your music making therapy like? The lyrics, who comes up with the melody? What's the inspiration for it? How does this all work?
Well, so if
Talk to me about your music laboratory.
Right. So like I said, just touched upon it. Like we don't write music just by waking up
So
and
you go more
everything. Yeah,
theme-based.
it's more thought driven is how we put it. It's like thinking about social aspects first to begin with, and then we kind of think a little philosophical also with our lyrical content, as some of our songs would speak.
I can see that on your faces.
Oh my god.
and it's well, if you talk about the process of how we come up with the songs, then probably it has like varied number of ways. Like we would probably start with a guitar and then come up with a progression and then build a tune on top of it, and then think about how this tune suits what kind of a theme, and then write lyrics on top of it. Or it could even be like there are songs that we've written which are even lyrics which were written for it, and we just thought like how the mood would suit for the song, and then we created a music to surround and fit that in. So that has also taken place.
Okay, let's take an example for the next track that you're going to play on the show. Which one is that?
This next track is called Drenched 2.0.
Called Drenched. Okay,
Yeah.
now tell me, how did this work?
Well,
How did you all make this track?
Well, this song was initially a part of Dark Project EP, which was released in 2005, and at the time it was me and Shavik who were creating music like for Dark Project as such. And then we got Yugel on board, and he had this, he just took our songs, all of the songs that we had in the EP, but in particular he took Drenched, and then he had this cool progression that he was, he used to always delve around the songs that we had already composed, and this song he had come up with this cool progression on the guitar, which we thought we should re-record about, and then it sort of came out, and we thought like how to name it back, and then we put out like the versioning to it, and we said Drenched 2.0. So that's how.
So, Gail, where did the inspiration for that progressiveness come into you?
Oh, actually, it's due to the semesters, You have all the limits and integration going on in your mind, and then you say, why can't I integrate a progression in your mind?
Sorry,
Then
that was not progression, that was aggression.
You can say that. Actually, you can say that.
Depression,
Oh, yeah, it could even be depression.
Exactly, man.
Oh my
So
god,
you have-
you're completely in suppression, my friend.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I guess so. So I took a guitar and did some integration and whatever came to my mind, and I came up with this progression.
Deadly combination.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's play this track out right here then. This is Dark Project right here in the studios of 94.3 Radio 1, going live with me, MJ Rakesh, on One Bengaluru, One Music.
One Bengaluru, One Music.
94.3. 94.3.
Releasing their music on iTunes to the Amazon to the CD Baby for the international audience and via VPP to the Indian audiences, with the packaging of the album being distinct. Something that no other band in India had before. That's the band Dark Project right here in the studios of 94.3 Radio 1, going live with me, MJ Rakesh, on One Bengaluru, One Music. Well guys, I see varied influences between each band member and unique set of music skills. Now let's dig a little deep into each member, starting with Shoaik Biswas, right? A PhD scholar in aerospace engineering. Picked up the guitar when you were in school, having a very wide dimension to your musical taste that ranges from Savage Garden to Rush to Porcupine Tree to Cynic. An artist in its true sense, I must say, loves painting sketches in your free time. Wow, a proclaimed GE3K. You are the backbone of the band, taking care of all the engineering and technical nuances. Now, firstly, coming to the sketches that you do in your free time, what kind of sketches are these? Are these the kind of sketches that Leonardo does in Titanic? Did you get lucky?
He wishes.
You would love to.
I prefer
Don't get ambitious. You will get a chance.
I'm more sort of a guy who works with opaque colors. So, like say pastels, a lot of acrylic work. These are the kind of things.
So you're into a technical side of sketching. You're not really into the freestyle sketching.
Exactly.
Okay.
So,
Now tell me, so many things. A PhD scholar in aerospace engineering. Yeah. You handle a proclaimed GE3K. You do sketching, and my God, there's so many dimensions to your personality. Now tell me, how did you find music in all of this?
I have no idea. But anyway, when you're doing PhD, actually I finished my PhD. I'm already a doctor now.
Oh, so I should be calling you Dr. Shoaik Biswas.
That's right. Exactly.
Apologies, doctor.
So when you're a scholar, you get lots of free time essentially. So most of the time goes in labs, and then you have the night time when you really don't do anything. So
Try people to do PhD.
No, it's a fun thing to do. This guy might be doing next.
Sure. So where did you find your music?
I think it was in class 9th or 10th. That's when I started really listening to music. Back then, like, those were the influences that grew on me. Those Savage Garden and those. The thing that you, like, really hear on television and radio at that point of time. Those are the things that you absorb. But once you get into, like, really exploring music, once, say, when you mature a bit and you start exploring music, that's when I started really listening to all the progressive bands and all. So, like, over the years, I have accumulated Porcupine Tree, Opeth, and then Cynic, and bands like that. So they have contributed to some of my thought processes.
So you started with Savage Garden, and now you're truly, madly, deeply into music. If I've got that right.
Yes.
Okay, now tell me, in the middle of all this, your PhD and engineering and all the other things that you do, where do you find time for music?
There's a lot of time. When you do PhD, you really have a lot of time.
My God, you're giving a really wrong message out to people who want to pursue PhD.
I think everything that Dr. Biswas composes can have an equation written for it.
Oh, so that's how technical you get with it. Okay, moving on now to Korak Sarkar, fondly called as the Korok drummer, hailing from the Garia in Kolkata and currently doing your MS in aerospace engineering from IISc Bangalore. Played drums for an innumerable number of bands in the past and was regarded as one of the best amateur drummers of Kolkata. Okay, now tell me, where did you find your sound? When?
Basically, I started doing music only in my second year of college. So few of my batchmates, they wanted to form a band. So, and at that point of time, I used to play a little bit of the guitar. So I told them, okay, if you're starting a band, I would definitely want to play guitar in that band. But then they said,
you get
dude,
a lot of women.
yeah. Then they said, dude, we already have too many guitarists. We need a drummer. Then I said, okay, let me learn drums. I will start playing them. So that is how I got my contacts, and then I started learning drums and eventually played drums with them. Then after some year or so, I started exploring into the scene in Kolkata back then, and most of the time I used to do freelancing drumming. So that's why I played in innumerable bands. That explains that point. And
where did you meet these guys from Dark Project?
I actually came to heard of them from Yugalda. He was a senior in my college only, so that's how I came to meet these
And then
guys.
he tagged you along everywhere.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, moving ahead now. Tell me, we'll come to the rest of the members later. Tell me which track you guys want to play now.
Yeah.
We would love you to play Streak of Coldness. This comes from the album Liberty and Entropy.
And what's this about?
And this is about one of the first songs that we took an attempt to write about love. And in this, we try to speak about, again, it's probably a little dark in a way that, you know, reciprocation is not the only way to go forward in love, is what the song tells you about. And it's about discovering a person one fine day, and the person that you've known for so many years, and you find that person is totally different from the person you've known in one fine day. And that's when the streak of coldness runs through your spine. And that's what this song is about. This is Streak of Coldness is all about.
Unrequited love.
What are the elements of music you've brought into this?
Well, so the elements of music, if I speak, the way the song got formulated, the first thing that will hit a listener, or for even us when we compose it, is the delay pattern of the guitar that Shavik composed. This was like, you know, this was like a good kickstart. Even when we go into our live gigs, you know, this song is supposedly one of the first songs that we want to play, you know, start the show on a high, because that guitar, when he composed that guitar, and we sort of just heard it, and we were like, this is the song. We want to write a song on top of this, and we want to search a theme out of, and there was this dark element attached to it, and Miguel brought in his guitars, his leads and stuff like that. And this was one of the songs, like I told you, like we don't really go with songs like complete, write them on the acoustic guitar to begin with. This is one of the songs we didn't write at all till the music was composed. So when the music got composed, we thought of like what fits in the best for the song, and that's where we wrote the lyrics up and
all right,
did the whole
sounds
thing.
interesting. Let's listen to it then. This is the band Dark Project right here in the studios of 94.3 Radio 1 with me, MJ Rakesh, on One Bengaluru, One Music.
One Bengaluru, One Music.
94.3. 94.3.
Well, that's Ugail, Korak, Anand, Shovik, Sudipto from the band Dark Project, jilting away some alternative progressive rock right here in the studios of 94.3 Radio 1 with me, MJ Rakesh, on One Bengaluru, One Music. Well, guys, coming to the rest of the members of the band, coming to Anand Saxena, the latest addition to the band Dark Project roster, half Bengali, half Saxena. You boast of a music career not only in playing instruments but also in selling instruments.
That's right.
Now, it looks like you come from a musical background.
Not really.
Then where is playing instruments and selling instruments coming from?
After engineering, I decided to join music equipments, as in, the sales of music equipments. Now I'm out of it, but I cherish it very much.
Okay, but how did your music story start?
I got into music really late.
Okay, you're on the bass guitar for the band.
Yes, I play
When did you
bass for
pick
the
up
band.
your bass guitar first?
I picked up my bass guitar for the first time about 4.5 years ago, and that was about when I started with music. The first memory of listening to music properly was that of a bass line that goes in the background, and that's when I knew I have to play bass. So it was just the intention of wanting to play bass that went on from one thing to the other. I practiced, I put my heart and soul into it, and here it is. I play bass
So
for
you're a
Dark Project.
self-taught bassy?
Yes, I am a self-taught bassy.
Oh, fantastic. All right, moving ahead to Ugail, also known as Lama or Uggs, right? A veteran musician, and you play the guitar for Dark Project. You hail from the city of Darjeeling.
Exactly.
I love that place. I love the teas in that place. You can play almost any instrument under the sun. Learned the first stint of your music from your father at home.
Exactly.
And since the long journey full of shows with various bands across various venues and genres. Now tell me, there is a lot of music back there in Darjeeling itself.
Absolutely.
Okay, what brought you here?
Well, as Korak said, Dark Project brought me to Bangalore. So, well, if my parents do allow me to tell that, I told
But
them.
there is naturally music everywhere in the Northeast, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's in your family as well, because your father taught you. So he
Yes.
would definitely never say no to your music.
The thing was like that. My music got in the way of my studies. Is what I felt.
Music didn't get in the way of your studies. You got yourself in the way of studies. Let's say that.
Okay.
Studies got in the way.
I couldn't resist, man. It was so tempting, the music. Like whenever you get the guitar in your hands and you have some problems to solve, you always go with the guitar than solving the problem. So,
Okay. So you had to get away from home so that you could pursue your real music passion.
you can say so.
Okay, when did you start? As in, when was the first time you picked up the guitar?
During my school days, like everyone was playing guitar, everyone was like getting cool. In Darjeeling, actually, like almost everyone can play the guitar, alright? So it was like everyone was playing guitar. I can't play the guitar, so it came as an obsession to me. So one day, yeah, I could play keyboard. That's a different thing. But like the guitars brought me into the music scenario. So one fine day, I told my dad, I need a guitar, and so he just got me a guitar. Since then, I've been playing the guitars.
Fantastic. Alrighty. Moving ahead to Sudipto Biswas, aka DJ, one of the founding members of the band Dark Project, the voice of the band both on stage and off, singing ever since you can remember, prefers simple acoustic guitar to write most of the songs. Now tell me, where did this streak of going vocal?
Well, so my influence is, I don't kind of, as it says, I don't kind of remember when I started with my music thing, because I believe early on, as when I was 4 years old, and my mom brought me a tape recorder where I used to record all animal songs, animal sounds rather, and from there on it started in, Bengal being quite influential towards music and art. I started off with Rabindra Sangit to begin with. I didn't learn any time, and I would tell you this funny story about me learning tabla, as in which probably no one knows. I learned tabla, and then my tabla teacher used to teach me, singing as well. So I got into my mom and I said, like, I want to learn singing as well, and she said, like, go ahead. And my tabla teacher comes in and I tell him to teach me singing, and he says he's going to sing, only teach me Bengali Rabindra Sangit music, as they call it. And I was quite annoyed and pissed off, because I used to love whatever used to come on Rangoli or Chitrahar for that matter, and I wouldn't want it, like, I would just go up into my balcony and just start shouting on top of my voice, and I used to do that. I used to go to school, and I would come back, and everybody in the neighborhood would know that I've come back, because I would just go step into that balcony and I would
shout out the
and I would shout out all that songs, all the songs. Yeah.
Jane man.
Well, back then I took them very seriously, not as with
How did you know that? I used to watch Chitrahar as well, so come on.
There are no secrets anymore.
I wouldn't probably tell you about my influences of singing it loud. Well, you might take it from the Kishore Kumar song, right? The Padosan song. Well, so that's how it started off, and then I met this guy Shavik. I was totally into Hindi music, and then I met this guy Shavik who gave me this, and it's pretty strange. I was listening to whatever was coming on Channel V at that time, and I remember Channel V used to telecast English music back then, and I used to listen to them, but I never really got into English music until this song "It's My Life" came in by Bon Jovi, and it's as late as that. It's 2001 when I heard this song. I used to travel. I mean, I used to stay in a PG. I've been out of my home since I was 14, so I used to travel to this place where my school was, and I used to listen to this song on my headphone, right? It's My Life, and I used to enact that guy who would just go around rolling across the street and stuff, and that's where I thought the English music is probably the thing that I would want to sing and love to sing. And I tried the first attempt, and I don't mind sharing the secrets that the first song that I went on stage to sing was a Boyzone song. It was No Matter What, and I was supposed to be the backing vocalist for the song. It was like an insult, but yeah, well, the guys were like, they were like, so you sing Hindi songs, right? So would you mind singing an English song? I know you can't, but well, so we have got this backing vocalist thing for you. So well, that's how it took up, and then followed it up with listening to a lot of bands and really got that into my skin, if I would.
So it was It's My Life from John Bon Jovi that changed your life. It actually did for me as well, because that was the first song that I actually played out on the radio as an RJ hosting.
Super cool.
That was my first song ever as an RJ on the radio. So yes, the DJ RJ Connect is here. Alright, moving ahead, tell me which is the next track you guys want to play on the show.
Well, so the next track would be an ode to a silent lover. This comes from the album Liberty and Entropy again. So this is a composition that is driven by Shavik primarily. And this composition, and I go on record saying that this is probably the track I love the most out of Liberty and Entropy. I don't know about others, but this song talks about this person who and this is where we bring in the philosophical aspect of our song, right? So this is about this person who's dead and is about to die and is under conflict in his mind about whether to choose back this world or to go back to heavens. And he's struggling with this conflict, and he knows one thing that he cannot escape, and that's a silent lover, which is called the death. And death is coming his way, but whether he goes back and asks for this world again or he chooses to stay back is what this song tries to tell about.
Sunday night at about 9:30, I'm getting pretty weird feelings when you're talking about this song. So
I'm
not going to discuss any more about it. Just let's play the song, all right? Dark Project right here in the studios on 94.3 Radio 1, going live with me, MJ Rakesh, on One Bengaluru, One Music.
One Bengaluru, One Music.
Lead my head on the blades of green grass, feel of the unrest, homeward bound. Breathe steadily, cold and forgotten, perceive and smell someone's around. Shall stay. To a hell
Bengaluru, one music.
94.3. 94.3.
A band tackling geographical boundaries, claiming that they are not just a band, they are a relationship that survived, struggled and bruised through the odds. They have come a long way with their music. That's the band Dark Project right here in the studios of 94.3 Radio 1. Going live with me, MJ Rakesh, on One Bengaluru, One Music. Guys, tell me a little more about the packaging of that one of your albums, which was so distinct, something that no other band in India had before. Now, which album are we talking about?
Yeah, we're talking about Liberty and Entropy here. And well, when we say packaging and when we say, no Indian band has done it, it's not our statement basically. We don't want to like claim something like that.
Where is this coming from?
This is come from people who have actually bought the CD. And the reason I say this, the packaging part from is if you look at the CD and it's got this 12-page booklet, which normally bands don't come up with, and it's totally artwork done by Shavik. So it's like if you take that CD up, it's got nothing plastic about it. When I say plastic, it's got nothing synthetic is what I mean. It's a labor of love, like we call it, and it's like every drop of that album is like built, written, sketched over a period of time, and then we wanted to tell a story, share some love with people, and then we wanted to wrap all these ideas up into a package which would look attractive as well. So when we sort of went out, gave the CD to people, to press, to even the listeners, they were quite surprised with the way it looked, and that's how they came back and said, like, you've never seen a packaging like this. So even in today's date, when we just go ahead and put the CD across to people, I think we get a little eyebrow raising.
This was the second album that you had put together, but Chaos Sessions was your first one. Right now, tell me, how was it producing Chaos Sessions then?
There's a funny, there's a funny story to it. So, of course, when you study, you don't have enough cash to buy your instruments, to buy your gears for your guitars and stuff like that. So we even struggled through that phase, and the amount of faith you have in about creating this stuff, right, drives you to do things which you would probably not even imagine. So I'm telling you
about... You would even loot a bank for it.
Not that. We're not that courageous, man. If you have to put it that way. Well, being
I know there's a fire. There's this inert fire in you to make sure this happens. And
there is, and most of it is like silent fire, if I may call it, because we don't really bring it out to the world unless required. We were always like fighting within ourselves. And why I say this is because what we did as a band was we didn't have the money to afford a processor. So we went out to the market, we downloaded this Google to our rescue, right? And we downloaded the circuit diagram and of how a processor would really,
function.
How it would function internally. And we sort of took a breadboard, took some IC chips, and we built it on our own. And it was like $150 is all we spent to make that processor. We recorded an entire album with it in a hostel room.
Finally, your engineering has come to some use somewhere.
Well, now you know why we went to the engineering colleges.
And why it's a project.
Fantastic. You guys made your own processor.
Right.
That is brilliant. Absolutely. Fantastic.
Yeah, so Chaos Sessions, the name itself is quite funny. Why we named it Chaos Sessions is because Chaos Sessions is named after the chaos that we created in the hostel rooms. Like, we used to go to Shauvik's hostel in IIT Kharagpur, and we would just bump into his room and start playing this guitar loud on his laptop speakers. Those were like probably what? Creative speakers? Desktop speakers, and they would just burst out and well, all the guys who were like neighbors of Shavik in a way were like totally pissed at us, right? So whenever we would hit IIT Kharagpur hostel, they would just dread that these guys have come again to create a lot of chaos. And that's how, and there were like sessions of that we took to create this album. So we thought the best name that could go for this album was like Chaos Sessions, so because we created a lot of chaos with it. So that's how the name came in. And then it consisted of songs, which one of the songs we took out from Dark Project EP because Yugel had done something really magical with it, and we couldn't really discard what he had done with Drenched. So Drenched being one track out of it, and then the rest of the tracks were again like very much thought driven of an experience that you had encountered sometime in your life, or you had observed something and wanted to write about it. So that's how we got like 9 tracks, and we've also included, I think, My Last Crime into it, which again comes from Dark Project EP, and which is like a solo guitar and vocals track, and it is kept as is from when Shavik and I were a part of Dark Project and were writing Dark Project EP. It's just as is kept as a bonus track.
Whew, a lot of stuff has gone into that. All right, moving ahead.
yeah.
Tell me which is the next track you guys want to play.
So we would want to play this track called Butterfly. It comes from this album Chaos Sessions, like we are talking about it. This song talks about freedom, as in from the perspective of a butterfly, and it comes as a package of songs in 2 songs, what we call Metamorphosis. The first part is called Caterpillar. The second part is called Butterfly.
I thought you guys were only into engineering. Now you're coming into biology. You God, look at you. Look at you guys. Oh God.
To get an engineering degree, you had to go through a science stream in 11 and 12. So
Not really. So it's like what I like. What I shouldn't say like I like it. I think the rest of the band also likes it. Is from the way the story has been narrated from a butterfly's perspective about how it's free and how it can just fly across without worrying about anything. It's just about spreading your arms, on an open terrace and say that life is good. So that's what this song Butterfly tries to tell you. In a
All
way.
right, let's listen to this Butterfly then from Dark Project right here in the studios of 94.381 with me MJ Rakesh on One Bengaluru, One Music.
One Bengaluru, One Music.
Hardened memories long lost gone, like a broke life carries on. Love and faith is bondage, sense no faith is too long. In my time of wasted days, pointed fingers, thoughts smell light. If this beauty is skin deep, ugliness will poison die. No more clouds in summer sky, no more walls enclose myself. Pair of wings in open fields, no more praise that goes unfelt. Made a promise to myself, never to die in sorrow. Freedom of this moment, worth the dead tomorrow.
One Bengaluru, One Music.
94.3. 94.3.
A band that composes music classified as an approximate blend of alternative and progressive rock, finding its ground in the year 2005, and they call themselves Dark Project. Certainly not so dark in the studios with smiling faces around. Going live with me, MJ Rakesh, on One Bengaluru, One Music. Well guys, with the amount of live gigs that you've done across the cities, now tell me which out of all those has been your best one?
Well, we
The
cannot
most
say a
memorable.
best one that would make the other
The
gigs
most
look-
memorable one.
Well, the most memorable one would be the last gig that we did at Hard Rock Cafe Hyderabad. That was kind of very cool in a way because the food that Hyderabad had to offer.
So it was memorable because of the food.
It was memorable because it was a new city.
Getting into a new place, playing in front of
Experience.
the audience and the kind of energy that we brought into the show. I was like opening up as a band, like I mean putting it across to people, and then got people really going crazy over it. And then we know that we don't know Hyderabad. It's the first time we've come to Hyderabad, and still see people in love with the music that we played. And eventually we do play covers, and we did play covers. But eventually when people came back to you and said that we really loved what you played of your own, as in your own music, that really made our day, because that's what we keep hearing from every other gig that we play in Bangalore. But when we played it in Hyderabad, and then people, unknown people came up and told you that, it was like, worth
Now
doing
tell
that
me
show.
one thing about Dark Project. When you guys perform live compared to what you guys do in the studio or in your jam room, how different are you guys in terms of the soundscape?
So we tried to merge that gap as much as possible. We don't want to sound...
Because when you're doing it in your studio, in your jam room,
Yeah.
with the gadgets and equipment and the software, you tend to get it right to the T. But when
Right.
you're on live, you just let it flow flow and you just let spontaneity take over.
Yeah, well, so if I can speak about a jam room here, I must say Thermal Underquarters Academy, it's kind of very cool where we jam in, and it sort of does not restrict you from the expression is what you're talking about, I think. So it kind of gives you the whole feel of the jam room is quite nice, and there's not a drastic change when we go
a
to
live vibe that
it's kind of like a live vibe that we get. And then of course there is a lot of spontaneity that goes in when you're live because you're facing the audience. So that part I think
No, I'm talking about suddenly when Gail gets to see a bunch of girls screaming yay for him.
I
You
go
think he's
better, dude.
suddenly-
I go better. Definitely I go better, man.
and suddenly doctor comes up with more technical samples and tries to
you
impress
bet
his
you
girls.
got the band right now. You know where the chicks lie.
Okay.
No, but we get told repeatedly that we nail it live like we do it in the recordings. So we try to stick true to the sound. We don't want to, send out the wrong message. We don't want to send out some wrong music and then play something else live.
Fantastic. Now, where does Dark Project see itself going?
Well, so basically we've had an exhaustive amount of shows in the past 4 months across Bangalore, across Hyderabad.
And we're loving it.
and what we did after finishing our gig at Hard Rock Cafe Hyderabad is we hit back to our jam rooms. We sort of started writing music again because it's been about 3 years now that we have written anything.
Refreshed your playlist.
We wanted to get on to an album making process again. So and this time around we are pretty serious about the way we want to compose, because this time there are no excuses like you're sitting at some remote place and then sending your music across internet and then asking somebody to compose something over it. This is not going to be like that. It's not been like that. What we're doing is getting along a room, starting to write music now, and we've got this target of coming up with 8 solid tracks that we would want to put out as an album sometime later down the year. So that's what we are concentrating on at this moment, and we are also looking forward to the next gigs that we would want to play in. But at this point of time, we were just a little concentrated about, because we want to really spend time in the kind of music we want to write now. So that's what we're doing right now.
Okay, but when you get the room, please make sure there's some light in it, not so dark.
Well, you bet. If I can jump the gun and say the next song that we could play, Magic, that has got nothing to do with darkness, and that's where, to begin with, I said that Dark Project is just the name, and it's got nothing to reflect about the music. Because people, yes, they come back and say you guys sound like metal, but well, when I listen to your music, I don't really feel you guys are
More
metal.
progressive.
Yeah, well, it's progressive, alternative, and it's like a feel-good kind of a thing. We want to spread a message, or we don't want to make you sit in a dark room and feel depressed about what you hear. So Magic, the next song, is about this hiatus, 2 years of hiatus, and I keep talking about it even in the live gigs. It's a song that expresses the emotions of this band when so it was back in 2009 when we played Pub Rock Fest in Calcutta and someplace else, and we went off the stage. We hardly knew that it would take us 2 years to get back to music, and that it would take a process of people traveling from Calcutta down to Bangalore, and the only motivation that drove us was the kind of magic that flown in with our which we could express ourselves with this sort of this band. And that's where Magic is a song that talks about creating that magic all over again, coming back and doing it together. Yeah. So that's how our music is, and I repeatedly say, that's got nothing to do with.
So it's a part of the new Dark Project.
Well, you can say Dark Project Reloaded.
Alrighty. Now tell me, where can Bengaluru catch you online?
Alright, so we have got our official website. That's the first thing I should say, darkproject.co.in. Well, the easiest way to do would be type in Dark Project on Google, and I think Shavik has done good with the analytics that it comes right at the top.
Oh!
No, I'm just kidding. It's been the hits, which has been over 1 lakh in the past couple of years.
And on Facebook / Dark Project?
Facebook.com/Dark Project Band. You can also follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/Dark Project Band. And of course, you can listen to us on Reverb Nation as well and search for Dark Project.
There's just one more to the list. All right. As I let you go, Dark Project, it was fantastic having you here in our Bright Studios.
It was a pleasure.
Wishing you all the very best in all your future endeavors. Looking forward to your 3rd album. And yes, of course, may you roar and soar. Let there be more light.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Bengaluru.
Alrighty. This is exactly what happens every single Sunday right here in the studios, where we get you artists, singers, bands, musicians from across the city who jam up live for you in the studio. If at all you know of anyone that needs to be on the show, mail us. bang@radio1.in. In the subject line, do not forget to mention One Bengaluru, One Music. As of now, this is MJ Rakesh signing off. See you next week. Same time at 9 p.m. Same frequency, 94.3 Radio 1.
One Bengaluru, one music.
Loud talk till they get a hear us. We never stop. We sound like symphony. I was high in the sky above my thoughts. Without my wings, still I could sing the song of our soul. Echoes of silent voices reflected off the air. Once people sang to the tunes, we allowed the world to stare. The magic happens all around me. It never stops to cheer destiny. Loud talk till they get a hear us. We never stop. We sound like symphony. We made a choice to walk together and feel the void. So much to cover. I let the fate take us over now, and it's over is what I feel as we see magic happens all around me. It never stops to cheer destiny. Loud talk till they get a hear us. We never stop. We sound like symphony. Can you sense the spark of light, like a sparkle in her eyes? We dig the grave of sadness and dance into the night. Oh, there is one thing that remains, a painted portrait of our souls. All the while and never again, no sorrow or pain, as we see magic happens all around me. It never stops to cheer destiny.